Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be my first official video in my TBR takedown series. Just to give you all a little background info as to what my TBR cart looks like. I have 47 books on my TBR, which is quite a bit, and it's stressing me out. So I have a goal to read 27 books, 27 of my physical books by September. I'm gonna give myself September at the latest. I would really like to get my physical TBR under 20, and then once it's under 20, I'm gonna do a reassessment and probably do a big unhaul of all the books that I have and I'm just not going to get to because I have fallen into the grasp of overconsumption and I have probably bought some books that I'm not going to read. So I'm going to try my best to be on a book buying ban, read the physical books that I can or that I want to, and then the ones that I don't, I'm gonna have to make a separate pile for them. They're gonna have to get unhauled because that was kind of a waste of product. That was my fault. It was also not a good money choice. So I have already started reading a book. I have our first book in TBR Takedown picked out, and it is Endgame by Willa Gray, and I've never read anything by Willa Gray before. This is my second attempt at reading a hockey romance. The first one, it was a mix of hockey romance versus the kind of romance it was, the plot that it was following I just wasn't liking. But in this one, we are following Matthew Anderson, and he is 36 playing professional hockey, and that is pretty old to be playing professional sports. And he is going through this internal battle of, do I end and retire on a good note, or do I try to continue playing hockey, get some last chance records and awards, and risk ending on a bad note and watching himself decline in the game, or just, you know, retiring now while he's still doing good. And then we're also following Eleanor, who also goes by Ellie, and she is an ER nurse, and at the beginning of the book we find that she lost her mom car accident 5 years prior, and she moved from Boston to Minneapolis, and she is just really struggling in life with grief and navigating, and she just feels lonely, and they meet at a bar. They meet at two bars, and the second one she brings him home. So I'm assuming they're about to have a one-night stand, but I'm not too sure. So I don't have too many thoughts and opinions. So far I'm liking, I mean, I'm only 38 pages in, so I can't really say too much on the chemistry, but I'm liking the way that they're fitting so far. I don't really like super spicy books. Couple scenes is fine, but that's my only worry with this book. And then I don't know how I'm gonna feel about the hockey practices slash games in the book, because we did have a scene early on of a hockey practice, and that just kind of ached me out. I don't know, maybe hockey romances aren't my thing because I've read baseball romances and I've loved them. I don't know, but I'm gonna continue reading this, and I will update y'all hopefully once I'm a little over halfway through the book. I might even update y'all whenever I'm completely through the book. I just hope there's no third deck breakup. We'll see. I have an update. I know I told you all that I would update somewhere in the halfway mark. No, I finished this. I read 202 pages yesterday, and I finished it today, and this was great. This was a solid 4-star. Honestly, the only thing that kept it from being any higher was I did get a little cringed out by some of the like hockey practice scenes and some of the hockey teammates scenes. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the fact that my fiance plays hockey and I used to watch him play hockey. I don't know. Something about reading about it kind of gives me the ick. But other than that, I really enjoyed this book. I absolutely loved Matthew and Ellie's chemistry and the way that they handled things. Anytime they had like a bump in the road or a little conflict, they would sit and talk about it, and there was no third act breakup, which is great because I can't stand third act breakup. So I really enjoyed this book, and it was this author's debut novel. So I'm really excited to see what else she publishes. I have no idea if this is going to be an interconnected standalone, and if it is, I ain't got a clue who the next person is going to be about, but I really enjoyed this book. I just liked it, and I liked how it handled grief and relationships and friendships, and it was just good. It was good, and it was nice to see Matthew find himself without hockey and come to a good closure point in his life for that era. So I really enjoyed this. However, the next hard part is picking another book to read, because I'm stuck between two books, and they're both recent purchases. I can either read an Arcane Inheritance by Camilla Cole, which is kind of a dark academia fantasy kind of book, or I could read Clytemnestra if I'm pronouncing that right. I ain't got a clue how to pronounce this, but these two are the ones that I think I'm most interested to read at the moment. But I did read a couple pages of this and I thought it sounded pretty good. But yeah, I don't know. I think I'm gonna read An Arcane Inheritance. I don't know if I'm gonna read this in this video. I might pick a backup for Arcane Inheritance just in case I start reading it and it's not what I'm in the mood for. But right now, that is going to be my next book. I ain't got a clue what it's about. I know it's about Ellery, who shows up to Warren University, which is an Ivy League school that is really linked to occult secrets and histories. And as she goes through her freshman year, she gets a lot of senses of deja vu and that she has been there before. And she is trying to convince the student Hudson Graves to help her remember a past that she can't seem to remember. So I just think that sounds really fun. So we'll see what I think about this when I get a little bit through and I can actually give y'all a decent summary of what this book's about. So I am gonna go do that. So I know in the last clip, I said I had a couple of books in mind to pick as my next book. Yeah, I didn't go with any of them. I actually was scrolling on Hoopla today and I picked up Like It Never Was by Faith Gardner. And I am on chapter 19, actually chapter 20, because I had 11 seconds left in the audiobook. So let me figure out what page that is. I'm on page 71, chapter 20. So far, we are following Jolene, who played a prank on her class nemesis whenever she was in high school. Her class nemesis claimed to see Bigfoot or something, and she was like, oh, I'll show you Bigfoot. So she was gonna play a prank. She was dressed in a gorilla suit. She was gonna jump scare Elizabeth as she was driving past, and Elizabeth ended up driving off the road down a hill / cliff, and she ended up being in the burn victim unit of the emergency room hospital, or the emergency hospital, and Jolene never reported or admitted that it was her. She did tell someone that was walking their dog that there was a wreck, and they called police and the EMS and let them know that there was a wreck. But other than that, Jolene did not ever come out about it. She even basically told her dad. She told her dad, but she used a hypothetical situation, and her dad was like, well, hypothetically, blah, 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 but you were in your room, right? Like, you were packing all night. She was like, yeah, I was. So 10 years later, Jolene has moved back to California, and she enrolls in improv class, and it just so happens that Elizabeth is assisting with said improv class. So Jolene is, eating up with guilt. Elizabeth wants to be her friend and texts her all the time, and they live really close together. And I have some theories about what's going to happen because this is a thriller, but I'm not too sure. I'm not gonna say my theories yet because one, if it ends up being right, then I don't want to give away the whole book. But two, I might not be right at all because I'm only 71 pages in the book. So we'll see how this goes. So far, I'm enjoying this book. The chapters are really short. I'm on page 71 and it's chapter 20 already. So yeah, we're gonna see how this goes. I'm going to try and physically read a little bit today. I don't know how much I'm gonna get done because I have some editing to do, and then I'm gonna film 2 videos, or at least a video today, maybe 2. And then Jackson and I'm gonna cook, and then Jackson and I are going to play tennis. So we've got a busy evening. But for now, I'm gonna continue reading, and I will update you all once I'm further into this book and have more thoughts and opinions other than guesses.
It's Editing Reagan popping in. I just now realized that I never gave my final thoughts on Like It Never Was since I had filmed this video a little bit ago. I had to pull up my Goodreads to refresh my memory as to what the book was about. I ended up rating it 3 stars. It wasn't bad in any way. I didn't really think that there was a big whodunit factor. It was more of all the characters in here were crazy and in the wrong, and I don't think it was a typical thriller, especially since the main character is crazy and then the other person is also crazy. It's just crazy, and I thought that there was just going to be this big crazy thing that happened, but it didn't. It was kind of predictable in that sense, and I don't really remember a lot that happened in the book, even though I think I just read it a couple weeks ago. yeah, I just don't really remember a lot. I know I put 3 stars on Goodreads. I might take that down a little bit to like a 3 or a 2.5, just because even though I read it, I have basically forgotten everything about it. So yeah, that is the book update on Like It Never Was. Back to the scheduled program.
So I have 2 book updates for you today. My first book update is that I tried to start Tender as the Flesh yesterday. I started the audiobook because I have that Kobo audiobook and ebook bundle, and so you get free audiobook credits on the Kobo app. So I redeemed one of them for Stella is sniffing. Stella. Hello. So I redeemed one of those audiobook credits for Tender as the Flesh, and I got about halfway through it and I had to DNF it. I just did not really care as to what was going on. Some of it was just graphic, and you know, which that was to be expected because it's literally a book about cannibalism. I just didn't really care enough. I wasn't really invested in the book, so I just had to DNF it. I'm gonna unhaul it just because it's just not my thing. But my other book update is a really good book update. I started and finished Hidden Pictures by Jason Rekulic, and I gave this a 4.5 star. I really enjoyed this book. We are following Mallory, who is, I believe she's 18 months clean, sober, and she is trying to get out of the sobriety house that she's in and get a job. And she lands a job babysitting for this one family, and the kid's name is Teddy, the dad's name is Ted, the mom is Caroline. So before she went into the interview, she was told that Teddy likes to draw and compliment Teddy's skills to kind of give her the advantage in the interview. She notices that he is just drawing like very basic kid drawings of bunnies and cars and flowers and things like that, and she ends up securing the babysitting job. She lives at their house in this like backyard shed basically, but it was renovated to actually house someone. As time goes on, she sees that Teddy's drawings go from really simple kids drawings to really complex and gruesome drawings, and it was almost as if he was being possessed by something. So throughout the book, they are trying to figure out who is possessing Teddy and trying to decipher what message is being sent to them. And so you kind of just get to see how things go down. I can't really say much about what happens in the end because it will spoil the whole book. But that is about as vague as a description I can give, but it was really good. I gave it 4.5 stars. I was very happy with the ending of the book, and I really liked all the characters, and I really liked Mallory. And there were a couple instances where I was afraid the book was going down one path because she is a recovering addict. I had this prediction that, you know, maybe she was in like psychosis or something and ended up doing everything that they were accusing her of, but that wasn't the case. So yeah, I just really enjoyed it. I liked the main characters, and it was just a good book. Definitely need to read it. And it gets bonus points for actually having little drawings in here, and it's like throughout the book that you see these drawings, and you do get to see them get more and more graphic as time goes, but it was good. I liked it. But yeah, that concludes today's first official TBR takedown video. I hope you guys really enjoyed. I was able to knock down 4 books on my TBR, and as you all saw in the video before, I did do a massive unhaul, and it did take place right in the middle of this video. So real quick, I will do a quick recount of how many books I have left and that I am ending this TBR takedown video on. I did get some coloring books. We're not gonna worry about that. So I now officially have 32 books. I'm feeling really good about that. It's actually encouraging me to read more, and I'm really excited to get back into reading, and hopefully I can knock this to just these top 2 shelves because that would be awesome. But yeah, just be sure to comment down below what you guys want to see in the future, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye.